Now, you just said something you don't say often.
What's that?
That I'm in charge.
Well, I didn't know if you're going to go all SOT Metalworks there and say live and direct from the Derby compound.
I can't go taking that.
Yeah, that's true. We need SOT here for that one. So
that's just not right. But we do have Farmer Chris back.
We do.
Farmer Chris is
we do. We also have Farmer John, but he conveniently likes to hide behind the camera.
Pretty soon. He'll have his time to shine.
Yeah, one of these
days. Whether he likes it or not.
We need to have a podcast with Farmer. No, I'll tell you who we really need to have a podcast with.
Yeah.
Is Mrs. Farmer John.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure that we'd get a little bit of scoop on both the Farmer Chris and Farmer John.
I'm just glad you didn't say Dad.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I don't know if the world's quite ready for that.
Oh, I know.
Could you imagine if we had your dad and Aaron together on a podcast?
Oh, my goodness.
So
they'd be fighting over the radio somewhere.
You got to give a little bit of history to
that. Dad was a Boilermaker for several years. He retired when he was 55, but I guess you would say Dad was the experienced Boilermaker at the time, and then Aaron come in as the apprentice.
I think what Aaron will never admit is in the construction world, Aaron was your dad's bitch for a long time.
Yeah. So as an apprentice, you got to go through the learning curves, I guess. But Aaron got a hold of the radio. I guess when you got the radio, you're the big guy.
Watches my channel, we know how much Aaron likes the radio.
Yeah. Well, now I understand why.
But
I didn't get that memo.
No, definitely. If you've heard Aaron talk about before, if you're in that power plant business, Dad's come home, all you see is the white of his eyes some days. So.
Yeah.
Luckily, with the Boilermaker trade, you can retire at the age of 55 and not take a dock or a beating.
Aaron's actually even a little ahead of schedule on that because he got started so early because he got kicked out of school when he was 14.
So Dad took the advantage of retiring at 55, but he says he retired from the wrong trade. He should have retired from farming and stayed at the Boilermakers.
Some things are going good on the farm.
Oh, yeah.
That's how it's supposed to be, isn't it?
Yep. So Dad and Aaron's got some work history together, but
every time we do a job for Farmer Chris, and Aaron's with me, and Pat's there, we have to rehash all the old times, and we spend 45 minutes getting absolutely nothing done.
Yeah.
And they're usually arguing about over who was right on a job that had nothing to do with anything we're doing that day.
It probably wasn't Aaron.
Yeah, it's well, in Pat's eyes, Aaron was never right, and in Aaron's eyes, Pat was never right.
Well, yeah.
So,
and that was just two generations looking at the same job.
Yeah, well, the other part is you guys obviously know Aaron's a colorful character, and Pat's not too far behind him.
Oh, okay.
So we got it's a good time to say the least. So.
Yep, for sure.
Anyways, what's our do we have a topic? You're in charge of this operation. We got.
I feel like I started writing episode notes for this.
And
I didn't. It's for the next episode.
You've had a busy week, ain't you, too?
It's been a real busy week, I'll tell you what. I spun my wheels and got nothing accomplished all week.
But you know what the good news is? He finally come to visit, spun his wheels, and hasn't got stuck yet.
I say he wasn't spinning wheels in snow this time.
Well, that's not true.
It did snow Friday.
Last Friday, didn't it?
Yeah, whenever he was here. So
now, they say if it rains on your wedding day, it's good luck. If it snows in a state where it's not supposed to snow, when you close on a house, is that good luck?
I haven't heard nothing on this one yet.
The way it's going, not really.
I don't think so.
You got an uphill battle ahead of you, it looks like.
It might just be, I might be a property owner in Indiana for record time. Turn around and sell it.
The property's not the problem.
No.
We should mention that without filling in the blanks.
The property is absolutely gorgeous. I've been showing off pictures of the waterfalls and everything left and right. We started making a short series because anybody who watches my channel even knows I have a channel.
Yep.
I'm not posting videos for this for a while. It's a lot of editing. I kind of let the camera just run for hours and hours and hours and hours. Basically hit record in the beginning and then let the battery die. So we started doing shorts. And there's a lot of mixed feelings. A lot of people don't think Mike knows how to swing a hammer.
Oh, the internet don't think I know how to do anything. It's amazing I can pee without hitting my foot.
I have no information whether or not you can or cannot, and we'll keep it that way.
I knew I was an idiot, but YouTube's confirmation, and it's amazing how amazing I can walk out a door and not into a wall.
Yeah, well. Oh,
It's,
that's you quacking. Usually I quack. All right, not guilty.
So yeah, it's shorts on YouTube are interesting. Some people love them, some people hate them.
Yeah, well, they're convenient for me right now. I've got
Yeah,
a few
they are
saved
convenient,
up.
and they're nice for me too because my videos are so far out. So if I want to post something current,
Yeah.
I can pop that in there really quick. And
Well, I'm
handle
also
that.
I'm going to, since I'm now, at least my residence is in your time, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that means that my videos go 3 months behind no matter what.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
there's it's been said before. There's just not much to film in Derby. So
I don't live in Derby.
oh, this is true. So you got all kinds of filming
Why didn't you bring your camera?
because there's nothing to film in Leopold.
Oh,
Unless Farmer Chris is farming down there. He's
Yeah.
been known to get the combine stuck in that neck of the
Yeah, the
woods.
combine stuff.
I got a truck and trailer stuck there.
Sounds like we got a truck and trailer stuck somewhere else right now too. Wasn't you?
Captain Kleeman, Captain Kleeman's got my truck buried in a field right now, and he told me good news, the mirrors ain't broke. So I think
Well,
he
good
didn't
there.
say
ain't we?
anything about the power steering hose though.
Well, not only does the internet think you're an idiot, they don't think overly highly of Captain Kleeman, apparently, because one of the comments was, let Kleeman remodel the house, and when it catches on fire, collect the insurance money.
There you go.
He's the only good firefighter we got around here. He may have a chance of getting it out and doing that right.
Well, no, because he gave me wonderful advice. He basically said that if you're, because I was looking at like fancy smoke detectors or whatever, they
Yep.
send my phone a text because I'm not going to live here for a little bit. He goes, I got news for you. If your house catches on fire, you're better off just saying your goodbyes.
Yeah.
Well, this is going to come full circle later here in the podcast because Chris is on the volunteer fire department.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, so you do know the topic.
Huh?
So you do know what we're going to talk about.
Kind of, sort of. But I don't
Okay.
know how we're going to get there yet. I'm waiting for you to drive the boat.
Yeah. I think we should dive into it. Every time I say it, Chris rolls his eyes and sighs. So,
Well, it's a sore subject. It's a hard subject to figure out, but there is a problem on the subject. It's just we can't get the manpower
yeah.
to do it. So
Well, let's dive right on into it then. So you were on about 2 months ago, and we talked about.
Was it that long ago?
It was. It was in January, and we talked about the current state of agriculture getting into the season, and you were seeing some shortages and prices going up. And you actually made a comment that it make it interesting if China invades Taiwan.
yes, I did. Didn't I?
We haven't gotten there yet.
I'm still trying to figure this one out yet. It's
So Russia has invaded Ukraine. We're now in it's the middle of March. Yeah.
yep, yeah,
And-
middle of March, and
And things are happening across the ocean. And I'm just wondering, has that changed much of your world?
definitely. We're not exporting any fertilizers coming out of Russia. All exports of anything out of Russia's been banned, but actually everything out of the Black Sea has been put on hold for as export because we just that's what we're being told by the news media. We actually found out last week that Russia is exporting grain out of the Black Sea region, but Ukraine is not. So I don't know I guess if Russia's got the warships in the Black Sea, they're letting their own
Go through
ships come through, to get grain and go out. So
it. Right.
the debate now is Ukraine going to get a crop in? They hold the majority of the black soil in the world.
Really?
They're the biggest black soil holder in the world. So very fertile ground. And if you look at them on latitude, longitude, whatever term we need to use, they're very similar growing season as what we call the I states.
Okay.
Indiana, Illinois, Iowa. So their growing season's very similar with what we got here. So their corn needs to be going in the ground in the next 60 days and
Well, I've seen some of their tractors working doing other things.
pulling tanks, ain't they? So
I don't know how you can plan with that, but
do they have the seed? Do they have the fertilizer? Do they even have the infrastructure to get the equipment to the field?
right.
Do they want to make the investment in putting a crop out and have a tank plow right through the middle of it?
Well, from what I've seen, I
So-
don't know how deep we can get into this. From what I've seen, I ain't got to worry about a tank going through the field. Maybe being drug up the road, but
So far as Ukraine and corn.
Long story short, the whole system's disrupted over there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's affecting worldwide, like I mentioned in the past. No matter what happens, it's going to be a worldwide thing. So
Right.
the corn stock, worldwide corn stock, is tight already. I mean, we're sitting here looking at $7 corn, which is it's touched $8 here once already and backed off.
What was it like 2 years ago or so? Even last year.
2 years ago, I'd say 2 years ago, we was looking at $2.30 corn at one time
And that's for you to buy or for you to sell?
for us to sell corn.
So in theory, things are looking better for.
If you didn't, yeah, but when it hit $4, we got excited and Ford contracted a bunch of it. So, so it has hurt me. So I do have some $4 corn booked for 2022 falls that we should be selling for $7 now. So.
Right. How's that going to trickle down to peons like Mike and I?
Well, I don't know how it's going to trickle all down. I always said crude oil or corn followed crude oil, which we seen last week. Crude went from $130 a barrel to $94 a barrel, and corn went up 50 cents. So my theory didn't work right there. So, but definitely corn's going to get tight. Livestock is your main. I know there's a bunch of talk, with us banning Russian crude oil right now. They're saying if we take ethanol from 10% to 15% at the pump, we can fulfill that void from Russian crude oil.
So basically, we're going to ruin more carburetors, clog more fuel injectors, decrease fuel economy.
If your motor's set very long, it will.
Yeah.
If you're running actively, I think it's fine.
At some point, when it's at the less of two evils, we're better off being self-dependent or self-sufficient and having mechanical issues or being dependent on foreign countries. I mean, at some point, it's going to be the survival of the fittest, and the fittest is going to be who can be more self-sufficient as far as the country's concerned. And I mean, we're not in good shape here in the States, neither is in a lot of other countries around the world.
No, I think everybody got hit pretty hard regardless.
And I'm not even going to theorize, but Russian invading Ukraine, I think, is part of that is an attempt to be more self-sufficient between the fertile dirt and the natural resources they got there. That makes them less dependent on the rest of the world.
Right.
And we definitely don't need to be go invading people, but we need to find ways to do that ourselves.
Right.
Whether it be ethanol or more drilling or finding ways to use less of it.
And you keep seeing this. It's going to get off ag here. You keep seeing that Keystone XL pipeline brought up.
Yep.
I still don't know if that brings more oil into the United States, because I think that's more designed to bring Canadian oil to refineries at Texas to be exported. I mean, I don't know.
I saw it. Oh, yeah. I muted myself there. I saw a map on it not too long ago, which actually explained what it did exactly.
But I got my whole theory on why the XL pipeline got shut down. So.
Oh, do tell.
Well, you don't want to get into politics, but
do we really care?
The current president shut it down.
Yes.
The biggest supporter of the current president is Warren Buffett.
Yes.
Warren Buffett owns a great big choo-choo train company.
Yes.
That gets to transport crude from Canada to Texas if this pipeline's not in place.
Yes.
So he got the gas line shut down so his train can stay in business. This crude's still going to Texas.
So
it's going on train, burning fuel instead of being pumped through a pipeline.
Yep. It also, in a nutshell, that's it. I know that we have a pipeline from Canada down, but the Keystone, I guess, would double the capacity or something like that.
Yeah.
And
the other thing you guys got to remember is the Keystone pipeline's the big one. There's several other pipelines that got shut down and not finished as well.
Yeah. For sure.
Including a few on the East Coast for whatever reason it is. But, everybody wants to talk green. Pipeline's one of the greenest things you can use to move material and crude. I mean, you may disturb some habitat, as the environmentalists would say, but how much habitat are you saving by not burning fuel running this up and down the rail and the infrastructure it takes to build and maintain that rail, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, I mean, and that whole theory could be applied to solar and wind as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it may produce green energy, but it is not green to produce the equipment that does that, and then nor is it green to dispose that. So you can't just look at one aspect of the whole scheme of things. A windmill produces green power. How much dirty power did it take to produce the windmill?
Yeah.
And then once the windmill runs its life, how much dirty, nasty things. Right, so lump that all together from build, install, usage, dismantle, dispose, and then how green is it really? You know what I mean? So I don't know. I just don't see the valid argument with these pipelines. I just don't see it.
I like the idea of green energy.
I do too.
But I don't think that we're there yet to where it's practical.
I mean, I support it 100%, but I feel like we need to look at it as a package and not a piece.
Yes.
Is the way I guess I'm trying to describe it.
Yeah, and it goes back to what you were saying. You have to be green all the way around if you want to be green.
You have to be green from the build to the install, just keep going on.
I did watch a interesting video on YouTube the other day. The double distilled.
I'm here to tell you, you can't believe everything.
I question this. They double distilled moonshine, so it was 190 proof moonshine. So moonshine's made of corn.
Okay.
They could take 80% moonshine with 20% gasoline.
Okay.
And they were running tractors and motorcycles on it.
Sure. Absolutely.
So can we make tax-free ethanol to run our vehicles?
That's not a still, that's a gasoline plant,
That's
sir.
a gas plant there.
Someone pull the plug real quick for you.
Yeah.
FBI knocking on our doors.
Yeah.
I mean,
There used to be people, last time diesel got this high, there's people going around and collecting all the fryer oil for their diesel trucks, running their diesel trucks off fryer oil.
you still can. I mean, I've seen, again, people on the internet, so I'm interested in looking into it and maybe doing some experiments, but certainly not with my truck.
Yep.
Yeah, well, the other thing is the old slobber and diesels don't care what you run through them. The new stuff with electronic injection's a little bit more.
Well, what they're doing is they're taking used motor oil and they're distilling it and they're running it in their trucks.
Can we distill it in Chris's gas still?
So,
you know.
and then the next thing, while we're on fuel, they're talking about this sustainable aviation fuel. So it's made of corn and ethanol too, or corn, soybean, kind of a mixture. So
I'm gonna be honest, airplanes are the last thing I want ethanol in.
So they're flying
At
jets.
least they haven't put DEF on them yet.
It's coming.
They're flying jets across the world, right? Or with tests with biodiesel and ethanol blend in them. So
Right.
if this takes off, it's going to be a food versus fuel fight, I think. But when we make fuel out of grain, there's so many byproducts coming out of the backside. I mean, I think the food versus fuel will be put to rest. But
Well, here's the next question though: is if we have this much more need for grain, do we have the ground to grow it on?
like right now for 2022, the numbers I'm hearing, we've got 180 million acres in the U.S. for a corn soybean mixture. So we're looking at, you can split right down the middle, 90 million acres of each. And it ain't going to go no more than 88 million to 92 million ratio one way or the other, just to do what we need to do right now. They're saying if this new sustainable fuel takes off, we need another 25 million acres of soybeans
Well,
above what we are now.
we can just go on Amazon and order a couple 100,000 acres, and Prime Shipping will have it here in no time.
But as far as
This should work that way.
what I'm seeing here in Southern Indiana, I mean, it's going to be different. I think all the fertilizer needs is here, or it's on the way. It takes so long to get it here. It's already been ordered. We did get a call last Wednesday that fertilizer went up $100 a ton. No notice or nothing, just $100 a ton raise.
So I'm going to assume for the people listening to this, that's a lot.
Well, when it's going from $880 a ton to $980 a ton,
What
and
was it 2 years ago?
it was down around $450 to $500 a ton.
So it's doubled and then
It's
went up
doubled,
another $100.
and then went up
a ton.
another 100. So, and I don't have my exact numbers with me. I think we're going to be buying somewhere around 500 ton this year. So,
I'm not good at math, but that's a big number.
that's another $5,000 increase in one day's phone calls. So.
Yeah. Which you've got to eat, basically.
Yeah, we've got to
Literally.
eat, but
Yeah, literally.
we did scramble and get the old price locked in. I mean, the company did work with us, and
Right. Now, do you still see the natural fertilizers as an option? Like the turkey shit?
yeah. So I'm gonna
Turkey poop.
Sorry, turkey. poop.
I'm gonna let the cat out of the bag here. I
That
guess
was a technical term. It's okay.
we're gonna go back to the acre question. We're 2,600 acres. We're gonna be planting this year.
He
Three-
said a number.
Yeah, 3/4 of our acres is gonna have a manure on it. And I know in that last podcast I said organic fertilizer.
Yeah.
And somebody questioned it, and I'm not organic farming, and I just call it organic fertilizer because it's a animal product, So when I say organic fertilizer, I'm talking about an animal waste or an animal byproduct. So, but 3/4 of our acres has got some type of hog manure, turkey manure, or cow manure on it.
Right.
And another thing you get out there is everybody's wanting organic crops. Or to grow organic crops, you gotta have organic fertilizer, which is manure. Which stink comes with manure, but they don't like the stink, so I don't know how we're gonna get organic fertilizer on organic crops to make what they want. But I'm pretty satisfied with where we're sitting at. The seeds all been secured, the chemicals secured. The chemicals we've had to jockey around. We don't get our name brand, or we've had to switch chemical names from one to the other. But the fertilizer, I think, is all in place.
Right.
Fuels went up. Fuels come back down. We hit on that last podcast I was on, and
That's the biggest, as far as how it's affecting me right now, fuel's the biggest thing. I mean, some plastic products continue to go up quite a bit, and you just can't make assumptions that you can go to the store and pick certain things up now. You may have to,
Right.
be a little bit more cautious about that and call around a little bit. I mean,
Well, we found that out with paint today.
yeah.
Just that, and I was talking to Norm. The price of PVC is apparently through the roof.
Yeah,
Just to
plastic-
buy conduit.
Plastic prices are ridiculous right now, from field tile to ditch culverts to water lines to conduit.
and that's just because it's a crude oil product.
Yeah.
It's just following the
Well, I
market.
think it's a combination of crude oil product, and it's also a combination of shortages. A lot of them plants shut down, and they just haven't caught back up, and people got stimulus money or had time to sit at home for projects, and they thought everything was going to slow down. Everything sped up, and they're not producing. And I don't want to say a lot of people got caught with their pants down, but here we are.
There's
A lot of these
people with pants
companies,
down.
whether they want to admit it or not, they got a plan in place for about 6 months worth of inventory.
Right.
So, we shut everything down in this country, and we went on 6 months perfectly normal. Everybody thought, well, we got this. We're perfectly normal.
Yeah.
Well, we're not going to see the effects of that until 8 months to a year later. And once we seen the effects of that, it was too late. We're so far behind playing catch up.
Yeah. And you still have a demand for things because people
Right,
still
and then,
aren't
and then
necessarily back
things
to
start
work.
coming back online at different times. So if you got a product, let's just use a vehicle for an example. If you got a product that requires 100 different things, if one of those don't come back online with the other ones, microchip processors, you may as well not have any of them because you're sitting there dead in the water. And I think that's the part of the issue with a lot of the shortages now is there's just one missing piece.
Right.
And
Well, we were seeing that. I mean, I know a lot of the manufacturers were dealing with it. Going back to vehicles, like Ford had the Speedway across from their plant in Lexington,
Yeah.
just filled with trucks waiting for microchips. And then,
yeah.
I mean, with your truck,
Yeah, I bought it. So Ford kind of took the motto of build it, get the chip in, sell it
Yeah.
as normal. I bought a new General Motors truck, And they kind of went a little bit of a different route. They're like, all right, here's your truck. It ain't gonna have X features on it that it should come standard with, but we're gonna discount the price and go on down the road.
Right.
So my truck is missing, I don't know, 6 or 8 features, nothing that really mattered a whole lot to me. It's a lot of comfort features.
Yeah. Well, that one is it shuts off cylinders.
Yeah, so
Man, I'd like to order it.
I mean,
that way.
they were very upfront with me about, hey, this truck's
Yeah.
missing X, Y, and Z. Here's the reflection on the price. Sounds good. Have a good day, and I'm out the road.
I'd like to do some more investigation on Ford. You know, they built those trucks, stockpiled them, waiting on parts. But now I heard somebody say they're so far outdated or mice are in them. They're actually scrapping some of these new trucks
Really?
now
Yeah.
just to get rid of the inventory. So they
Apparently, one of the
going.
issues was a connector
Okay.
that allowed the connector wasn't there, so mice could get in.
No kidding.
Yeah, so they had this. Yeah, I don't want to speculate.
Yeah,
I've
is
heard
hearsay.
that from some people that actually. We're close enough to the Ford factory here. There's
Yeah.
people that live in this community that work there,
Right.
Yeah.
and I don't want to say they're regretting that decision, but I don't think it's the best decision. Of course,
No.
with in Ford's defense, I think they thought the trucks were going to be sitting for 4 to 6 weeks, and they
Yep.
ended up sitting for
Yep.
4 to 6 months.
Yeah.
Right.
So, you know, if their initial plan would have worked, it would have been great.
It'd have been fine.
And then they were so far down the road they were committed.
Right.
And I don't know if the other ones had a chance to learn from their mistakes, and that's why General Motors or others went a different direction.
Right.
I have no idea, but give all these companies credit. I mean, all these companies are trying to
Oh,
find ways,
absolutely.
trying to
Yeah.
find ways to keep going.
And they're keeping people employed.
right,
I
yeah.
think,
So,
they all deserve a pat on the back for that.
yeah, I don't want to get down on Ford for what they did. I think they honestly made the decision they thought that was best for
They
them.
made a
And-
gamble. Yeah.
Yeah, in hindsight, being I mean, if that would have worked out and they were the only ones that had trucks, I mean, it could have been a home run either way,
Right.
too. And who knows? I mean, my truck may end up having problems because they got some off-brand random processor in there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So-
we'll see.
The next ag topic, I guess, would be meat protein. And I've been working with you, Jason, on trying to
Yeah.
get some beef back to
Pennsylvania.
for you at a
Well, I'd
discounted price. So,
I started sending you pictures since the last
yeah,
podcast.
it's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, our shelves are bare.
Compared to what we see down here, I don't go grocery shopping at all, but
Yeah.
I'll ride along with John and Livy when they go grocery shopping, and our stores are pretty well stocked. You see a little bit from the Tell City Walmart to the Corden Walmart, but they're nothing like the Pennsylvania Walmarts or
No,
Costco.
I
you
mean,
see up there.
Our Walmart may end up starting looking like theirs after Thursday.
Yeah,
What's there? Oh, because of the fire.
that fire up there.
Massive fire, the
Yeah.
large distribution center up there.
Well, that
but-
probably means that ours are going to hurt even more.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know if it's because even the bigger cities here, I haven't really noticed it like
No.
they do up there.
No.
You know, Owensboro, or Evansville and Owensboro, and even Louisville. But
but I guess Proposition 12. If anybody's got time to look up Proposition 12, California voted this through back in like 2015.
Okay.
And it's kind of like an animal rights rule on animal space for turkeys and swine.
Is this also, not to cut you off, where they get the requirements for quote unquote free range and stuff?
It's not free range, but it's bigger
Okay.
pens. You know, the gestation pens are farrowing crates, and then the chickens
Right.
have bigger pens or free range eggs or whatever. So they voted this in, but it's never took effect, and it's only for California, but it's for all the meat sold in California. So it's really going to affect all of the United States because
All the
meat goes everywhere.
Yeah.
So they're still working through it. It was supposed to go into effect here pretty soon. They've put a hold on it.
Really?
Due to the inflation of food, they think Proposition 12 is going to raise the price of food even higher that people can't afford it. So they're just going to put that off
excuse my language.
because the inflation's already got prices high enough already.
Excuse my language, but no shit. Like,
Yeah.
what the hell do you think is gonna happen?
So
Well, you know,
I think it's funny that they voted something in for animal rights, but now it's already so expensive to buy food. Well, maybe this ain't such a bad idea anyway.
so what you're saying is everything's profit based?
Yeah, it's profit based.
Well, let's. I'm just gonna spit it out here the way it is. animals are living human creatures and they need to be treated humanely. I'm 100% in agreement with that. But there's also this thing called the food chain.
Yeah.
And at some point, somebody's got to take priority over somebody else.
Right.
And if it's me or a pig, I'm going to choose me.
Right.
I don't know how else to say it that damn simple. You know what I mean? I'm not saying we have the right to mistreat her, but I've seen some operations, hog, chicken, whatever. I mean, them things are happy-go-lucky and they're fat, dumb, and happy.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, it's what I look at is we have come from mankind, whatever. We've raised pigs for as long as we can been in the United States. We've had open range pigs, open range chickens. They have developed these crates and stuff for animal safety.
Right.
And, you know, now we're going back to like 1940 stuff, you know. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's unreal. So.
Now, a point that I would like to make with the Proposition 12 is we're sitting here laughing at these lawmakers in California that are, well, that's a bad idea. I don't think we should be laughing. I feel like we should be applauding them because they're actually thinking.
I don't know if it's actually the lawmakers as much as the people with the money pushing it, because now rumor has it one of the pushers was McDonald's. And now I think some of the board of directors on McDonald's has backed off and maybe decided that maybe they should just stick with fast food instead of a premium product, you know. So,
Right.
Because I think maybe Burger King kind of jumped into some of this 2 or 3 years ago.
Right.
Maybe with some of this Impossible Burger stuff too. But I think they seen some of their stocks plummet. And I think some of McDonald's stockholders seen what took place. Now they're kind of backpedaling a little bit. So I don't know. There it is. It's profit
in that
driven again.
situation, whether it has to do with these animals or this could apply to a wide variety of things. So many people put these rules and regulations into place and then do not take into consideration the consequences of them whatsoever.
Generally, they don't understand.
And then 2 or 3 years down the road, that person may or may not be in office, and I'm not a Republican, Democrat, whatever, it don't matter. And then there's this whole finger pointing game, but nobody actually wants to fix the damn problem.
Right.
And I fully understand rules and regulations, we need them. But sometimes we got to see the bigger picture and not look at just our shadow, but look past it.
Right.
Or we're never going to go anywhere. We're just going to sit there and keep turning around in circles.
Yeah.
And it's kind of scary because the people that make these decisions have, and I'm not insulting their intelligence. They don't know what they're talking about.
Yep.
I'm not insulting their intelligence either, but either they don't take the initiative to inform themselves, or they take informant from people that are not
Qualified.
either they're not qualified or they're backed by money or an ulterior motive.
Yeah.
Is where they're getting their information from. So they very well may be taking their best. They very well may be making their best decision based on the information they're given, but that don't mean they fact check the information they got.
Right.
And I'm not picking on anybody individual.
I think it's there's something to be said that people should be held accountable for. And
Yes.
They should not. Some people should not be held more accountable than others based on the letter designating their position. If they're at fault, they're at fault. I don't care.
Yep.
You know what side you're sitting on or what color you are. I don't give a crap. If you're the one that signed this paperwork and you did not do your due diligence to understand the long-term effects within reason, you're at fault. You know. So at this point, back to agriculture. Based on things driving the markets right now, it's pretty much too late for farmers to go and change their plan for this season.
Oh, no. We can change it. We can change on the fly at any time as far as corn or soybeans. I mean, if we see a major market swing somewhere or see a profit somewhere, we can. Now, I'm going to say not all farmers. Some farmers are set. They're going to stay on a 50-50 rotation. I mean, and what I say 50-50 rotation. This year, this acre gets corn, this acre gets beans, and no matter what, they're going to flop beans and corn next year. So now, like our farm, we're not set on no fixed rotation. We chase the market. I don't know. John probably gets tired of me sitting in the office, but I'm trying to figure out where I can gain the next dollar at sometimes, and where I can chase a market at, and which elevator's got the best basis or best price. And we're pretty flexible. I'll change on the fly. I mean,
now I guess that brings me up to two different questions. One being, do you think a lot of farmers may be switching up their plans right now? And if so, because you mentioned corn being very profitable at the moment, or at least bringing in higher numbers. I shouldn't say profitable. Do you think that there's a possibility we may see a shortage per se in other crops?
No. I think we're right on numbers for right now. I really thought maybe corn or beans, one would be short acres this year due to the cotton price last fall. Cotton was from what I hear, what I know about cotton, it's a southern crop. It was at an all-time high last year. And that can take some acres out of corn or beans. But for all the numbers I hear, which March 31st is our first USDA report coming out. Okay. That's going to be the government's first stab at actual, I guess, on acreage here. And that'll be a major market swing here. So that's just what you're trying to outguess on selling grain. But as far as the marketers I'm hearing or talking to or listening to, I think we're right on cue on corn and beans. Texas is really, really, really dry. I guess that's what scares me right now is like 70% of the U.S. currently right now is in some stage of a drought.
Really?
And that's kind of odd for sitting here in March, but
especially with the
April showers bring May flowers, so
yeah,
we might see some rain.
We've had nothing but rain. That's crazy.
March has been dry here for us, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we're sitting with like less than 2 inches in March, so that's
we've got rain, but I thought we would have more than 2 inches, but it's just been all at once.
Yep. I mean, we've been working dirt for the last 2 days. Sitting here March 18th, and we've been working dirt the last 2 days. It's pretty odd for us. So we'll see what it brings. And that's the biggest thing, I guess, in agriculture is we can do whatever we want, but Mother Nature's got the last call.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I was going to say the three things that probably come into account when you change your plan on the fly is probably weather, finances, and availability, right?
Yeah. And there you go, financing again. A lot of guys, corn is king. I don't care who you talk to, corn is king. Everybody loves raising corn. Corn's fun to plant. Corn's fun to harvest. But man, it takes, some numbers I'm hearing, it's taking $1,000 an acre to plant an acre of corn this year.
And that's, say 2 years ago.
2 years ago, we was down around $600 or $700 an acre.
So you're talking about being up 40%.
Yeah. So.
No kidding.
Even though corn's king, corn might show a little more profit too. Farmers are pretty leveraged on the bank. So can you get the money to plant the crop?
Right.
We're down to $650 to $700 an acre on planting beans this year. So you don't have to borrow as much money. So some guys might be forced to plant beans just because they can't get the money to plant the crop. So.
So a friend of mine asked if he's a police officer, and he's saying, are there any surprises that you didn't see coming that are forcing your hand on certain things? He's saying, for example, the department he works for, due to fuel price increase, they're telling them that they're not supposed to be driving around much, patrolling. It's going out on calls only. I mean, are you guys seeing anything?
We had already going 2,000 acres of beans. That was kind of our plan since January. We run really, really rolling marginal ground. We've had record corn yields the last 2 years, exceptional corn yields for us. I just got scared, gun shy to go bury $1,000 an acre in the ground and come in with an average yield, and I've lost my ass.
Right.
and then I don't have the money to pay the loans back at the end of the year. So I just didn't want to have the risk out there this year. So we went heavy beans. And now with this Russian invasion and watching fuel prices goes up, it's playing in our hand because soybeans take less diesel fuel anyways.
Right.
And I think we covered that on the last podcast. So I think it's the soybeans going to work well for us. We can cover acres faster on soybeans, I think, too. So it's less trucking, less labor. And when you're running a limited labor manpower show on 2,600 acres, I think this year here, that's going to be our game plan. So unless corn does something, unless we see $10 corn here in the next month, we're going to stay set on our plan for right now. But
Do you think
I really don't think USDA has fine-tuned their South America bean crop yet. So South America has just come through one of their most major droughts, and they're harvesting their crop right now. A lot of private marketers have really, really brought the South America crop down, and USDA has not brought their numbers down on total tons, metric tons South America harvests. I think if USDA ever recognizes the small crop down there, I think soybeans has got another $2 or $3 a bushel left on that. So might play into our hand yet, but I can stare in that cup and get more information out of it than what I'm giving you. So.
Oh, maybe we put a microphone on the cup
Yeah.
and call it a day.
I was going to say the reflection of the cup's looking right back at them.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoy the
That's if anybody can figure this market out, they wouldn't be marketers. I mean, they'd be millionaires. So
right.
There's just too many moving pieces to the puzzle
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah. Well, it's still evolving.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's still
and we still ain't figured out if China's going to invade Taiwan yet.
There's a lot of things that could make this a little bit different too.
Well, they didn't talk about the NCAA was changing the market.
Yeah.
The basketball game.
Huh?
Yes, it was changing the market. Because more people was out about eating hotels.
Beef prices are going up because of the NCAA travel. People's out eating steakhouses and stuff.
What? Well, it goes to show
More
you
burgers
just
are
how
being
tight of
sold.
margins everything's running on right now.
Yeah. I didn't hear that, but I mean, it makes sense. It's just
And spring break.
Spring break.
that's true. We didn't really have a spring break for
2
Last
years.
2 years, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it don't take much to fluctuate this market. Somebody can start a rumor, and the market's going to swing for a day or two, and then realize it's a rumor, and then come
go
back.
down. I guess my last question on the agricultural front is, do you think, in your own opinion, with everything going on in the world right now, that it's really affecting our market that badly? Or like what you just said with rumors, do you think it's it's changed a little bit, but it's still par for the course?
It's changed some, but it's still basics. It's supply and demand. I mean, we've seen for the past 2 years our stocks are over. When I say stocks, it's your production versus your usage. We've always got extra on hand,
Right.
but we've seen those stocks slowly dwindle. And you hear numbers. One time you heard 2050. 1 year you hear 2030. At one time, the population is going to outgrow food production. Now, we just don't know when that's going to get here. But it's a kind of a double-edged sword because you're gaining more mouths, and more mouths takes more land so ag's losing land and gaining more mouths. But everybody's got to realize that to do this balancing act, we got to use technology. I mean, Dad said, and when he started farming he started farming in 78, but coming through the early 80s, he said if you had 100 bushel corn crop, you was king. I mean, that was good. There's now, if you're not hitting 240, 250, you're not even in the ball game hardly anymore.
Really?
So, I mean, that's just how technology is going. And I really, The world record corn crop's sitting at 600 bushel an acre.
And what's the span and time frame between 100?
Well, you go from 80s to
80s?
from
40 years.
40
Okay,
years.
so 80s till now.
Yeah, so
But
that's
that's just-
how they've been able to lose ground, but yet keep
Keep up
production
with
up. Is
keep
what
production.
ground is in production is doubled
It's being
production.
more productive, yeah.
Right.
But we cannot go back to non-GMO organic farming, or we will have mass world starvation. If we go back to raising 100 bushel corn, we cannot feed the world.
Right.
It'll be. I mean, somebody's going to have to realize what's the worst of the two evils. I mean, I don't know how to do it. We're just.
It's the reality of the
it's reality,
situation.
Yeah.
But-
Yeah, and
But yeah, you're seeing $7 corn, $15 beans. It's all. South America just had a drought. Crude oil drives, I think, still drives corn prices. Stocks is going down because ethanol is at all-time high. We've got a huge pig inventory. We've got a huge poultry inventory that's eating corn. I mean, it's going to get interesting in the next 10 years. Unless we find a miracle breakthrough on how to raise 400 bushel corn on every acre.
I need to find the guy that Jack bought his beanstalk beans from.
Yeah.
See what he's got for corn.
Get some magic beans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do we transition this into the second part of this?
Well, I mean, we've hit on politics and regulations and stuff like that. So, I mean, the best way I know to segue is what do you do to get involved to influence that or
So-
make changes?
What do you, the listener at home, do to save the world? Save your world?
Well, I don't know if it's save your world. I don't think you could be selfish and say save your world. I think you have to go back to the bigger picture and save our world. Like, what's the bigger picture ball game? I've covered this in some of my videos in the past, and I think we even talked about it on a podcast. There's nothing that peeves me off more than somebody that sits back and gripes and gripes and gripes, but don't want to take action to do anything about it. So, Chris and I are sitting here discussing all these things. We're not griping. We're giving you our opinion.
Right.
And then the flip side of that is stuff we don't share very often is we are Chris, in some aspects in the actual government level, is very, very heavily involved with entities that lobby to get this stuff changed. I've got relationships with a lot of politicians and leaders. And I mean, I do a lot more stuff on a local level as far as improving the quality of life in our community. I venture out into their stuff. Chris does a lot of stuff on the state and federal level. So, I mean, the power is in numbers. It's that simple. It's numbers, and Chris can elaborate on this in a minute. He's involved in different organizations that group people together that present to politicians or leaders or whoever you want to call them. And I hate to say it in some aspects, but a lot of times the squeaky wheel gets the attention, is what it comes down to. I'm not a big fan of the protest or the big show at the steps of the Capitol or the steps of the State House. What that gets you is a lot of attention for a very short period of time. What you need is persistent attention to the right people. You don't need to make a big public scene. You don't need to blow it up all over social media. You don't need to have it all over the media. You need to have your group together. You need to be organized. You need to find the individuals you need to talk to. You need to be educated about what you're lobbying for. And you need to be persistent with it. It's just that simple. And I've had a tremendous amount of success doing that on the local level. I think we've covered this in some podcasts before with community involvement. And I'll let Chris take over here a little bit. He's involved with a couple different entities that do it on a state and federal level. And they've had some success as well. And in some cases, I think Chris and his organizations can be that informant, for some of these politicians making these. Here's what these guys are telling you. Here's how it's going to affect us before you go make that decision. And Chris volunteers his time to do that. I volunteer my time to do that. But I feel like it's important to make sure my kids have a future and I have a good quality of life while I'm on this earth. And we don't get so far down some crazy rabbit hole that we can't get ourselves back out of it. So I'll let Chris take over and give his.
Yeah, there's a couple of different words that come to mind, and that's, main organization we're using for government advocacy, or, ag advocacy, is the Farm Bureau. And we've discussed that before. So is who's got clout, and that's the word we've used quite a bit. And I don't care if you're talking about a county farm bureau, a state farm bureau, or American Farm Bureau. We've got recognition at every level. I mean, we're in the state house, we're in the national house, lobbying day in, day out. And just like Mike said, you got to be there every day. Now, we do have our hired lobbyists there coaching us, I guess, or keeping up on the stuff. But you've also got to have your grassroots people that's voting these officials in. You got to be there in their office too. So you got to have your grassroots there every day in somebody's office talking. But as you're talking, you've also got to listen to their side of the story too. But we just got to get up there and tell our story. I mean, that's all you got to do, just tell your story. Do it politely, and move on, but stay persistent.
Right.
Our state representative, I call him once a week or once every other week while Indiana's in session. And I even took my Farm Bureau hat off and reached out to phone call and helped, Derby Community Association here was having some trouble. And it seems like things got to rolling pretty quick on that, just by one phone call and having one connection there. So. But yeah, it's just, and Farm Bureau has really, really, really had some success with some stuff. And we've got some stuff that didn't go our way very well, but you don't sit and cry about it. You put your big boy pants on and move on, and find your next solution or your next problem and go at it. So
to Chris's point, where at least he tried. I mean, I think that gives him the right to complain or have a little bit of opinion because he was involved in trying to make a difference. I don't want to harp on this too much, but like I said earlier, you can't, if you're not happy with the way things are going, you can't get on social media and blast it. I mean, that does nothing. Does absolutely nothing. The people on social media aren't voting for any of these changes.
Also, it almost discredits you a little bit.
Yeah, you need to make a few phone calls behind the scenes, find out who's behind what you don't like, have discussions with them, get petitions going, do all the right things. I mean, you'd be amazed if you just spend a little bit of time, what you can actually accomplish if you do it the proper right way in the proper channels. I'm going to elaborate a little bit on what Chris said. I'm heavily involved with the Derby Community Association, and we've been working for the last year and a half to put in a new dock. The riverfront's very important to Derby down here as far as recreational traffic coming in. And you got to keep in mind, Derby community is like, the community itself is like 75 or 100 people. I mean, it's a very small community. And we've raised close to $100,000 to put this dock in, which is a substantial amount of money for a small community. And we're going about doing everything right. We're going to work on the river. So we filed permits with the Corps of Engineers. We filed permits with the DNR. And we filed permits with IDEM, which is basically the Indiana Environmental Services. Corps of Engineers loved our plan because we're taking a wooden dock out that gets stuck in their dams, and we're replacing it with a steel structure they'll never have to worry about, and it prevents erosion. They were, go for it, boys, have at it. Indiana DNR looks all over everything. They said we're not, in anything, we're not destroying any habitat or anything major. It's a riprap area. Sign off, go for it. IDEM says if DNR's happy, we're happy. Then last minute, some random biologist drives down from Bloomington and just starts spitting out absolute gibberish. I mean, the stupidest stuff you ever heard in your life. And you've got a group of individuals in Derby that have got a combined 150 years working on the river. And they're very nicely just can't even understand what this guy's even fathoming. And basically he's gonna shut us down over the smallest little technicality ever. And of course, you know, a lot of people could lose their cool there and go down some paths that probably wouldn't be productive. And a few of us almost did, but at the end of the day, what ended up happening is we left that meeting, gathered our facts. After we had our facts gathered, Chris knew our local representative very well. And at that point, Chris got us in contact with him. We presented our case to him. He could not believe the way we were treated. And basically this guy had absolutely no merit to what he was. It was a personal vendetta about something. And within 45 minutes, we had a permit. And then this guy called back and said it's not valid, and I'm not sure if he still has a job. So the flip side of that is, if you are in government, take into consideration what your decision affected. How many other communities, we're trying to improve public property. We're going about it the proper way, going through every channel.
Right.
And then you're going to tell me that I'm running one salamander's breeding ground, when in reality I'm adding more area for them to breed because we're increasing the riprap coverage. And then you're going to tell me that we can't put steel walls up and down the river when there's almost 3 miles a year drove up and down the river? Like, you don't even have a valid argument. So my point to this conversation is, gather your data, find the right person, present, and a lot of times you'll be surprised what the result is.
Now, there's a lot of groups in the news anymore, and I'm not going to single any of them out because I don't think it's relevant. A lot of people blame XYZ group, LMNOP group, whatever group, for all these issues. Do you think it's fair to say that if you feel so strongly that such and such group is at fault, perhaps you should educate yourself on a topic being discussed and give some constructive resistance? Now, I'm not saying go protest, but kind of like what you guys are saying, you know, get your ducks in a row and go through the proper channels and the proper procedures and show up and create an opposition?
Well, so here's my opinion on those groups. The one reason they become so popular is because of the media.
Okay.
So just like I said, you can't believe everything you see on YouTube. What you see in the media is very, very one-sided. So before you take what you see on there, Google's a wonderful thing if you want to look hard enough.
Yeah.
It don't take, we walk around with these computers in our hands. Google it, read a handful of articles, educate yourself, and don't take somebody else's word for it. And you may find out that what you see is a whole lot different than reality.
Right.
So I think we're all guilty of it. Did you see that on the news? Did you see that on
absolutely.
Facebook? You know what I mean? And I'm not saying what the news said was wrong, but they may have gave you one sentence of a paragraph.
Right.
And that sentence may not even be irrelevant to the paragraph, is the best way I know to describe it.
Yeah, I'm sitting on several boards and president of 2 boards right now, but, you know, and then after an event goes on or you have an evaluation event, you've always got somebody complaining or you should have done this, you should have done that. But on not all the boards, 90% of the boards I'm on, there's vacant seats available. I'll tell them if they've got a problem or they think they can make a difference or make it better, there's empty seats. Yeah. Come on and join and help us out.
I think we covered that pretty well in the video.
Yeah.
Of the building the 4-H track.
Sure.
Which, honestly, that ended up having a good result.
Yes, it did.
So, I don't know. I'm going to hit on it a little bit. I don't want to go into a whole lot of details, but Chris, one of the boards Chris sits on is the local 4-H board.
Right.
I just think it's a good example of how things can happen if everybody has their mind in the right place. But long story short, I was doing the motocross track and observed a few things. Posted a video about it. I didn't mention any names or call anybody out, but I just kind of gave my thoughts on people volunteering and donating their time and jumping to conclusions and not getting involved, and spoke about it for about, 10 minutes.
I've watched that section of that video about 50 times on there. It's very inspirational.
So that's scary, but so anyways, Chris took it to Chris being the president of the 4-H, he took it to the meeting and played it out loud. Of course, I never mentioned which 4-H it was or mentioned any names, and
Right.
I think Chris could jump in here if I'm wrong, but a lot of people had the impression that I'm glad our fair is not like that. And Chris was like, this is our fair.
By the way.
Yeah, which I think was eye-opening to a lot of people in a good way. But the whole purpose of the speech is if you don't like, one of the complaints was the restrooms weren't unlocked, and people were this one person was just up in arms about the restrooms were unlocked. If you don't like it, get involved.
Yeah.
If it had an extra volunteer, the restrooms may have been open.
Right.
Had to wait too long concession stand.
Yeah, then the line of the concessions in. It's just ridiculous. Just ridiculous. I got to wait 5 minutes for a fair cheeseburger.
We're shorthanded. We're trying to find volunteers.
And to Chris's point, get involved. You know what I mean? And there was other things that went on and on and on. But
Well, if I get involved, I'm not going to get a cheeseburger.
You get free cheeseburgers if you get involved.
well, unless you're the guy building the motocross track, and I had to pay for mine.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna say,
Yeah, but you got a banner put up
I
with your
did get
name on
mine
it.
put up,
I mean, did you have a?
but they charged me a gate fee coming in with a bulldozer.
Did you have to pay extra?
They didn't charge me for the trailer.
Oh,
They let deal, they let it slide.
that was nice of them.
No,
Now we can get easy pass or feel the same.
You know, I think me and Mike's almost got the same theory or mentality. We sit on a lot of boards. We do a lot of community service, a lot of community service, making quality of life better. But neither one of us sit on a government or have a government position or never have run for a government position. I've thought about it a couple times, and I slapped myself and woke up and decided that wasn't what I needed. But I just don't know. I'm glad there's people that does it. I just don't think that's where I'm best suited at or best needed at.
I feel the same way about a lot of that. I mean, the first reason I don't run for government office is I'd be divorced and I can't afford it. But the second reason is I just feel like my time is better spent, whether it's dealing with something at the Derby Boat Dock or dealing with something with 4-H or dealing something with the Perry County Parks, or I can just go where I'm needed. You know, I used to sit on the Perry County Solid Waste Board and did some stuff there, but I'm heavily involved, but I don't have a government office.
Right.
You know, but I think you're the same way. I mean, county commissioners call me from time to time looking for ideas and guidance and different leaders in the community, mayors. I mean, I'm in the circle. I just don't have a title.
Yeah.
And I like it that way because a lot of times I can go home and don't have to deal with the phone calls and stuff. I can just deal with what issue or what I feel is important at the time and push forward on it.
I mean, within reason, you don't have a rule book either. Now, you still have to be respectful and professional.
Yeah.
Right,
Still gotta be
but
professional.
I don't have to follow some of the protocol, some of the
Right.
so-called air quote elected officials have to do. And I mean, I don't want this to come out the wrong way, but there's no doubt everybody in this county knows who I am when it comes to elected officials, whether it be good or bad. My sheriff only likes me every 4 years, election year.
And that's this year.
That's this year. He likes me this year.
I remember when one of the first times I came down here, and I think the mayor joke was going around still. And,
Oh, the Derby mayor joke.
yeah. And I looked at Jen, I was like, does everybody know Mike? Oh, yeah. Everybody knows him. Half the people like him, half the people can't stand him. Everybody knows him.
But it switches. It depends on what I'm pushing for. You know, they flip-flop a little
It'd
bit.
be interesting if you run for an office. Would Jenna be on your team or the opposing
That's
team
a
to make
good
you lose?
question.
Depends on the day of the week.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
No, but
So it's
like I
hard.
said-
It's hard to run for office and be in business because everybody's not going to agree with your.
Yeah, and you're giving yourself
And
a kiss of
I'll
death.
tell you what, and it ain't easy. It ain't for the glory to have your name on the board. I'll promise you that. I don't do it for the glory. I don't do it to have my name broadcast all over the place. It takes a lot of hours of volunteer
If you're going to do it right,
to
it
do
does.
it right. I mean, I went to the fairgrounds Monday to have a 1 hour meeting with an electrical company. I ended up there 5 hours doing 6 different jobs that just kept snowballing. But while I was there, I did it, you know, and then turn around and come downtown, stop at the Farm Bureau office, and take care of a job there. I mean, it just takes time. I mean, time I'm on the Farm Bureau. I'm on the Perry County Fairgrounds, the Perry County Livestock Committee. I am a volunteer fire department for Central Perry, if it is a fire department, I guess. We have been this week. We had 5 fires in 5 days. I'm about wore out of fires, but we did save the footer of the one house for the second time. It caught on fire Saturday, and it caught on fire 3 days later. It caught on fire Wednesday morning at 3:30 in the morning. So
This is Ronnie's house?
yeah,
Really?
yeah, it flamed up 3 days later again. Brush fires, but I mean it's hard, guys. I mean it's on the fire department too. I mean if you're busy, you got to put down everything you're doing, find the wheels, and go do it. Or a page goes out at 2:30 in the morning. You're trying to get your scents and get your pants on, your shirt, and running through the house, and your boots are on the wrong feet when you get to the fire, and you realize you didn't even have socks on, and you're trying to take care of things. So I mean, it takes a lot of time doing that too. So,
And those volunteers are a lot harder to come by than they used to be.
and I mean, I know Mike's got some issues with Central Perry too, and we can build a brand new firehouse. We can put brand new fire trucks in it, but
You need people.
with the 5 fires I've been to in 5 days, it's been the same 10 people there, and out of those 10 people, there's 6 of us over 40 years old. I don't know how to get the young manpower into the fire department, you know. And we have worked with our state representative trying to make some tax breaks, even, you know, trying to get some tax breaks for some guys to try and incentivize them to get in. But
Younger people's got full-time jobs.
But everybody's just got full-time jobs, and I mean, yeah, we team up with Anderson, and yeah, Anderson can row fast, but it seems like Anderson's got more full-time farmers over there than what we've got here too. Will help Sam, I think. So, and
There's a lot of issues at play
Yeah.
there. It's not
Yeah.
any quick fix, and I think that's a whole nother
Yep.
discussion. It's one reason that I don't. I'm very, very appreciative of Central
Yep.
Perry Fire Department and having them, but at the end of the day, they are very ineffective in
Yep.
what they do. But I can't say that because I don't have the time to dedicate to it.
yeah,
They do the best they do. They do the best job they can with what they got.
Right.
And
by the time you get out of bed or quit what you're doing, get in a pickup, run to a firehouse. Hopefully, the truck starts. It's all volunteer put together and maintained, and take off. And then we're rural area, yeah, we stretch out. So it is a struggle. And then we don't have the fire hydrants on every street corner. So then you got to start trucking water 1,000 gallons at a time.
That's what you were doing last.
yeah,
I'm tired of trucking water. I've trucked water 2 fires. I'm just running. I've ran 400 miles and didn't go nowhere that one day.
Right.
And it was 26 degrees and wind blowing 30 mile an hour, and you're soaking wet and water spraying everywhere. So.
Now, does it ever cross your mind, what the hell am I doing out here?
Making your quality of life better for your community. I mean, that's all it is. It's just trying to help a neighbor. I mean, especially when this house fire burned. I mean, you hate seeing it happen to anybody's house burn down. I'll promise you that. But when it's somebody you know, it's even a little rougher. So
which 9 times out of 10, our community, it's somebody you know. 'Cause
Everybody
we live
you
in
know,
we
yeah.
live in a pretty small community.
the brush fires, I don't mind the brush fires. It's very little property damage. I mean, a garage fire. I just hate house fires. And I think I question our training or personnel training. You know, you see your bigger cities. You know, they're into smoke and fighting and holes and stuff, and our guys will put tanks and air tanks and masks on, but I ain't gonna do it. I suck a tank down in 30 seconds. I'm fat and out of shape, but they go into some smoke, but they back out. You know, there's just, I don't know. We just ain't got the slingers, you know, like the big fire departments has been trained, but they're, you know, they're full time like we're Cleveland's at. There's a whole crew of firemen on shift all day. I mean, that's
Yeah, I
what
don't
they're
know.
training and ready to go at all times.
I have to ask Cleveland, but I think they have some sort of training on a monthly basis.
Yeah.
And to Cleveland's point too is, I think he would vouch this, if he's going to go in a burning house with a hose, he knows whoever's out there is running that truck's going to make sure he's got water and he's accounted for and
Yeah.
taken care of, and there's somebody's
Yeah.
going to come in there and get him if he gets in trouble.
Yep.
With Central Perry, not only do you not have the trained guy to go in the house, you don't have the trained guy to rescue the guy, or maybe even the trained guy to run the truck to make
We
sure
might
he's
run out of water while he's in there
Yeah.
because we can't get water trucked to the scene fast enough.
So there's a lot of other variables that go involved. And like I said, I'm living my own rule here. I hate to say anything bad about them because I don't have the time to dedicate to make it any better right now. Hopefully one of these days I will.
I know the one fire we went to, the volunteer fireman got to the firehouse and went to the pumper truck, and somebody didn't turn the kill switch off the last time. The truck's dead. I mean, it's not a good, don't look good on us, but it's when it's all volunteer. It's hard to fire a volunteer.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's several boards. You can get involved. I mean, there's boards, there's seats open on every board there is, fire departments, fairgrounds, communities. I mean, there's organizations, Farm Bureau. I mean, there's something open everywhere.
Of all the stuff I've ever been involved with, I don't remember ever turning down anybody that wanted to get involved.
Now, where do you think the best place to start is for somebody looking to?
Whatever you're passionate about.
Is whatever their passion or the background is, yeah.
You know, I'm passionate about the community I live in. Chris is passionate about the farming community.
The rural community, ag community, yeah. I'm trying to lasso him into the Farm Bureau yet, so.
Yeah.
Maybe Miss Jenna will kill me too. We'll be able to, they make a double casket.
I'm not sure that's where I want to spend eternity, Chris. Nothing against you there, bud.
Oh, boy.
But
No, just, yeah, definitely get involved. And you alluded on your YouTube, and then I put a little trailer up on my YouTube, you know, a few minutes after you put yours up, so. It's volunteers. It's just everybody needs volunteers.
I don't remember the name of that video on my channel, Chris. It was something about, it's building a motocross track at the county fair and why volunteering is important or something. I don't know.
A year and a half ago, I think.
It wasn't even a year ago.
It's been last July. Yeah, it's been
Really?
8 months ago, so.
I feel like it was a lot longer than that. I believe you, but.
The second half of the video, I think I'm speaking over a time lapse of tearing down the tracks.
Yeah, it's a time lapse of tearing down the
Where
track.
is that? I don't even remember
Very,
what I
very
said.
good.
It is just kind of a brief synopsis of what we've talked about tonight, to be honest with you. So.
And if your passion is to run for politics, I mean, definitely there's a need for that too. I mean, jump in there, and if you don't mind being the bad guy all the time, you know.
I think for me, it's more of a timing issue. You know, right now the kids are young, the business is rolling. I just don't have the time to dedicate it to do a good job. Will I never do it? Well, you know, whenever I'm semi-retired and, you know, the kids are doing their own thing, there's a chance I may consider it, but I mean, I'll make that decision when the time comes. I will always be involved in something community. I have been for as long as I remember. My whole family's been involved with that.
So, Dirt Perfect 2032?
No.
2036?
I don't think we're going that far there, bud.
2036? That sounds about right?
I had something on Facebook. I wish I could find it. What volunteer meant, but I don't know. It'd take me too long to find it tonight. But it's like being a volunteer means being a hero while you're getting your ass chewed out or something. You're being a hero on one side and you're pissing somebody else on the other side. So you definitely got to juggle how to make everything work out. And,
you know, the biggest piece of advice is don't get mad, get involved.
Yeah.
You know, that's the simple long and short of it. People take so much take so much stuff in the world for granted. They don't realize the time and effort that goes into stuff to make it happen. From festivals to playgrounds and parks to lobbying for different things.
I've kind of been lobbied to be president of the two boards I'm on, but I don't mind being president of the boards because I put a good team around me, or I got a good team around me. You know, I dedicate or assign jobs for, I mean, when I delegate jobs for people, I don't follow up with them. I just know it's done, you know. Right. And that's my job as president of that board, is just to keep the whole team moving along one way, and I'll do the phone calls, and because that's my benefit, or Mike can fill in here too, with me not having a 6 to 4 job. I can make phone calls all day long being president and organize and arrange stuff, and then delegate these jobs to be done, and I just don't even follow up on some of them because I know they're done.
Now, you said that you don't have your name on these boards for pride or whatever like that, but is there a sense of pride or a sense of accomplishment even in everything you get accomplished that makes it worth it?
Oh, I keep it tucked under my shirt for sure.
Yeah.
But
I mean, like there's a definite difference, at least in what I'm saying, than the guy who's just proud to be, I got my name on that board, that's me, I'm president, versus the guy who could go to the county fair event, the motocross race, and say, the bathrooms are open.
When we have a successful motocross, I'm the proudest I can ever be, or a successful whole fair. I'm just proud as I can be. But then come the end of the fair and they're wanting everybody to get up on stage and present who they are or what they do. I don't go. I don't want to be.
Right.
I don't want to get up there and show my clout. But
right.
I'm very proud of what I've done and what I've accomplished. But I don't get out in front of everybody and show it. So.
You think that sense of accomplishment could keep people coming back to volunteer more and more once they've done it the first time?
I'm trying to think how to answer that question. I never really put a whole lot of thought into it. I don't.
Well, okay, so you and I have had this conversation in different terms already.
Okay.
So it's you're involved with a couple different construction companies, and there's a certain part of the skid steer that's coming out on a different company because of, not necessarily because of you, but because of some of the things input you've given. And it's like you said, every time you see that damn skid steer now, it's kind of cool because you know that the reason it has a roll-up door on it.
Yeah. Yeah, but as far as like community involvement and I don't know if it's as much for me as a sense of pride or recognition as it is just kind of knowing I left my mark.
See, I don't
like I don't need people to know that I did that. It's just nice that I know that people are enjoying something I helped be part of.
Yeah.
Which is what I'm trying to say. I'm not talking about recognition. I'm talking about you inside can look at a boat dock and say to yourself, that's there because I busted my ass.
Yeah, and maybe that's what I meant.
Yeah, I mean, every time I drive past the Derby Community Center, not to be whatever, but if it wasn't for me and 2 or 3 other key individuals, that never would have happened.
Right.
And then it's nice driving by there and seeing people, seeing a wedding or a graduation party going on and seeing people actually enjoying.
So it kind of makes it worth it for you as an individual.
I think it's more of satisfaction maybe than it is anything else. It's I think if you're going to get involved just to boast about what you accomplished, that's the wrong reason to do.
Yeah, that's not what I meant by the question.
That's the wrong reason to do it. But I think once you're involved and you have success with some projects, that maybe a sense of pride.
That's what I was going to say. Be proud of what you did.
Yeah, be proud of what you did.
I see, just looking around in society, and again, the commenters tell me I need therapy, but I like to look at society as a whole, and I like to pick it apart as best I can. And I think that we are generally lacking people with a sense of accomplishment. Because there's nothing, you don't get any accomplishment by staring at your phone all day or by complaining on social media, but you could get a sense of accomplishment by putting some effort out and making the place that you live and your family lives a little bit better.
I think there's too many people I think I know where you're going. I don't know where to take it my side to.
I think
there's too many people sitting back thinking somebody else will do it for them.
Right. And I think your part is maybe if people got involved and found a sense of accomplishment from it, then maybe it'll help their own mental health possibly.
Or a sense of purpose. How about that?
But I want to caution that if you do get involved in something like that, it's not overnight.
No.
I mean, some of the stuff I've worked on for years before. This boat dock's been years in the making. So you gotta kind of stick with it and see it through. But I think if you do, you'll eventually see a result.
Yeah, start small.
But don't get on a board and your first idea don't get majority vote, or don't, just because you're not getting your way in the first 6 months, don't get depressed and get off, because
You just get a new board.
Just, you know, I mean, I've sat on boards and not got what I thought was the best idea, but
Right.
it's a majority.
You know, one
not
thing,
yet, so,
the few boards I've been president of, one thing I've always preached is, listen, we can sit here and have a heated discussion, we can have a heated debate, we can have whatever we want. Whenever we vote and there's a majority, whatever that majority is, whether it's your side or the other side, everybody's on the rope pulling the same way at that time. We ain't going back, we ain't talking about it. Decision is made, get on board and we'll move forward. And I've had to remind a few people of that a few times over the years, but that's how we've been able to chug forward and make accomplishments. There's so many times that you make a decision on a board and the people that the decision didn't go their way, they start building their army over here to come in and then you're split and divided.
Yep.
And if you're the president or the leader of that board, you got to nip that crap in the bud right away and say, listen,
Get together.
we're in
Let's get
this,
it
then
done.
we'll get it together. If the majority voted this way, there's been times that the vote didn't go my way. But if the majority made the decision, guess what? I'm on their team now,
Right.
and we're going forward. And that's how you get
You've
stuff
been on
done.
their team all along.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And we've had very heated discussions, debates leading up to votes, but once that vote's made, that's it.
And
It's
it's a
over.
balance act as a leader to give them just enough line to do their debate and argue, but then you got to pull it back in and
If
get
you're
the
the
vote
president of the board, you're a mediator, you're a therapist,
Yeah.
you're a judge, you're a referee,
yeah.
you're a lot of different things.
Then you got to
and-
keep the meeting moving and get everybody home on a
And-
timely schedule so they don't feel
and
like it's a job and get
There's a
burned
big
out.
difference between being on a board and being president of a board. It's that's a big jump. But the right people in the right places, man, it's amazing what you
can
can
move a mountain,
accomplish.
can't you?
It's amazing what you can accomplish. And if I had a penny for every time I said no, I could probably pay off the national deficit. But you just keep. I don't take no for an answer. If you're going to tell me no, the first thing out of my mouth is going to be why. And if I don't like your answer, I'm going to call you out on it.
Yeah.
Which there's something to be said about why Miss Jenna deserves a medal. It truly is.
There's certain individuals in this county. They see me coming, they go the other way. 'Cause, and you know what I do? I ask them why.
You go faster.
I'm kind of surprised when I call some people why they answer my phone calls. I'm like, why did you answer this? But thank you.
And we laugh about it, but
No.
it's all, those individuals, they know darn good and well if they need something and I can help them, they'll call me.
Yep.
And I'll put all that other stuff aside because if it's good for the county, it's good for me.
Right.
I can see past that, and a lot of them can too. It's we all deal with here we all complain about the small town stuff, the big cities all complain about the big city stuff. It's all the same stuff, just different scale.
Yeah.
Is what it is. So
Yeah, I mean, actually, the Farm Bureau got me into interesting places. I've been to Washington, D.C. twice with Farm Bureau, so I flew for the first time with Farm Bureau. I mean,
ask him about his last flight. That's on their podcast.
The logger
one
waited.
flight. But no, it's
Floating
sometimes
without weight.
sometimes the right group can take you to neat places too. But definitely been to get to the federal houses and sit there and talk to our national representatives and stuff, and pretty interesting.
Well, Jason, I think is that gonna about wrap us up on this one.
I think so.
I think that was a good little chat. Thanks to having Farmer Chris back. So
Yeah, I think he said he'd like to make this a regular thing, and
Well, I don't want to burn my welcome up. So.
I was gonna say I think he may have regretted it, but I heard it.
as long as the commenters keep liking them, we'll keep bringing them back.
yeah.
So
Just like you guys made the comment before on this, few points were perfect. It's just the timing to get all three of us.
Yeah,
With you being 12 hours away, we're coming into March.
yeah,
I've been in the fields all day.
yeah, it's
Dirt Perfect's been added all day.
it's good time.
We didn't get started on this till 8:15 this evening, so
yeah, yeah. and
this is a
it's-
late podcast already. So
And I do feel that the people who watch and comment, and especially a lot of the core people, they appreciate it.
yeah,
They
Yeah.
understand that.
And we're not here. I mean, we're just conveying our lives and our thoughts. I don't mean you have to agree with us.
Oh yeah,
yep,
please don't. I mean,
You know.
yep.
debates are great. It's because everybody can learn.
Yeah, just inform yourself before you come back.
Here we go. Right.
Oh, is that the right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So, All right, guys. Well, thanks for listening. Sure
Yep.
appreciate it.
Thanks.
Comment down below. Let us know what you guys
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yep.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah. We'll catch you on the next one.